Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Dear listeners, viewers, and students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope all of you are fine and enjoying a good health and staying safe. Today, we can discuss a very important topic. As the background says, we are discussing the Hajj. Hajj is fifth pillar of Islam, and it's mandatory on every Muslim who can afford it. So once you are in that bracket, that you have financial resources with which you can bear the travel cost, the cost by staying at Mecca, and then travel, you can travel back, you have enough resources, then plus on top of it, you're physically fit. So you are eligible for Hajj. Now there are no excuses. And those who do not have the resources, it is not fard upon them to do the Hajj. So in terms of, if we look at the dictionary, when we look at the word Hajj, that means you are intended to do something. And in terms of Islamic terminology, when we look at Hajj, Hajj is something which is performed by a Muslim, where at Mecca, currently in Saudi Arabia, and it is an annual pilgrimage that he or she performs, right? And they have enough financial resources for that. And yeah, it has to be performed in the month of Zil Hijjah. So this is what Hajj is all about. And there is a beautiful reference from the Quran. It says from Surah Al-Imran that pilgrimage thereto is a duty men owe to Allah, and those who can afford the journey. This is verse number 97 of Surah Al-Imran. Now, dear listeners, Hajj is something extremely significant in the life of a Muslim. This is, many people say it, and there's no doubt about it, that this is a life experience. You do not have such a experience in your life, the experience that you go through in a Hajj. It is such an experience. And so therefore, it is very, very important that a great deal of care and effort is required so that you prepare it well and you do it well, because this is something big you're going to go for. Now, let's, before I move on, for my students, please make sure, quick note in your copy that know the references of all the pillars of Islam, all the references of the articles of faith, and then you have to write and learn the importance of the Hajj for individual and importance of the Hajj for the Ummah. And those who refer to the book of Dr. Iftakharul Haq and Maulavi Jahangir Mahmood, for you, the pages are there. On the screen, the pages are there for you, so you can specifically, and also the important terms. This is a very, very important article from page 265 to 268. This is a must thing. Once you're done with the lecture with me, do go and have a look at it, because that's a very, very important question. What are the terminologies? What do they mean? Well, all about that. And then, so let's first look at the kinds of Hajj. There are three kinds: Hajj Tamattu, Hajj Qiran, and Hajj Ifrad. Now, what does the diagram mean? I'll just tell you in a second. Now, let's look at it. So if you see carefully, right, the Umrah is performed and then Hajj is performed during the month of Dhul Hijjah with a new Ihram. So what is it? So you wear an Ihram. What is Ihram? Ihram is the garments, the white garments. For men, there are two unstitched clothes or sheets, right? They have to be white in color and you wear them. And for women, you can wear, we'll talk about Ihram in a while as well. And you wear the Ihram and then you perform the Umrah and then you take it off here, right? And both of them are happening in the month of Dhul Hajj. And then you wear the new Ihram and then you perform the Hajj with it. So this is Hajj Tamattu, right? And the pilgrim is known as Mutamatti, and they have to have a sacrificial animal with them. Then the Qiran, the Hajj Qiran is that he or she wears an Ihram. He comes in a state of Ihram. They performs the Umrah. Then with the same state of Ihram, they continue their Hajj. So this is Hajj Qiran. Now, I hope the diagrams make sense now. Then comes Ifrad. Hajj Ifrad is only Hajj during the month of Hajj, and the pilgrim is known as Mufrid, and whatever he wears the Ihram, or he comes in a state of Ihram, and then he performs the Hajj, and that's it. So no Umrah involved there. Mawaqit is the boundary, right? And is the plural of miqat. What is miqat? It's the geographical boundary that a person intending to do Hajj or Umrah should not cross. So that boundary should not be crossed. Why? Because you have to be in Ihram before you cross this boundary, right? So let's say this is the boundary. So you have to be in Ihram before you cross this boundary. So, so this is something very, very important. Then, so whether it's Hajj or Umrah is for both. And anyone who crosses without Ihram, he has to go back and then come back. And then, what do you call it? He comes back in. And otherwise, he or she has to pay a fidya, has to sacrifice an animal for that. And that's a lot of money. And then this diagram shows, this is Makkah Mukarramah. These are the different points where different miqat, the different boundaries, because remember, people come from all over the world. So these are the boundaries that people have to be in Ihram before they enter into this area, this geographical area. Then it is important to distinguish between two boundaries. That is the haram of the Makkah. The haram has its own boundary, and mawaqit is something different to that. So if you notice, this is haram of Makkah, and then this is mawaqit, right? So it's important to know the difference between the two. Then, restrictions while you are in the haram, right? If you're in haram, plants cannot be cut. The animals cannot be frightened. You cannot play any games or anything. And then articles lost must not be picked up. And except for someone making an announcement to find the owner, right? Nowadays, it's very simple. You see anything, just go and inform their authorities around there, and they will manage things for you. And if you lost something, go to their office and ask them, and I lost something like that. So no need to pick up anything, even if there is a gold ring or even 1 kilogram of gold there, no way. And any man to bear arms for fighting, you're not allowed to do that. So no arm, you cannot carry any arms. The same restrictions apply for Medina Munawwara, and also this applies to everyone, whether you are in Ihram or not, and applies throughout the year. Now, let's look at Umrah step by step. So what we're looking at is Umrah step by step. The first thing is Ihram. So what is Ihram? We were talking about Ihram. This is how it looks like it, right? So this is how the Ihram looks like, and the woman can wear the normal clothes they can wear, provided their hands and their face is not covered. Right, so we were going back to Ihram. So you're in Ihram, and we know about miqat. We have to be in that Ihram before that boundary, right? Then Tawaf. Tawaf is you go round the Kaaba, and then you do Sa'i, right? You do Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Safa and Marwa are two mountains, and this is the same mountains in which Hajj alayhi salatu wasalam went in search of water 7 times. So we fulfill that sunnah, and we also go between those two mountains 7 times. So that is known as Sa'i. And then we do the halaq. In halaq, we got 2 choices, right? We can either shave our head or we can trim the hair. That is called as taqsir. Now, going back to talbiyah. Oh, this is something important. Now, ihram for Umrah, when you're wearing that, right, you prepare for ihram. And let me discuss with you the condition. How do you prepare for ihram? Number one, if you have mustaf, you clip them, cut your nails, pubic hairs, armpit hairs, etc. And then you remove them, and then you take a shower for ihram. And this is a sunnah. And you put a perfume on your body, on your head, on your beard, and then put on the ihram garments, that is ridda and idar. The ridda is the top one, and idar is the bottom sheet, that we call it. And so this, and you pray 2 rakat or a salat if it's time for it. And then what do? Now you've done the ihram, you've done the preparation. At this point, now you're all set to be in the state of ihram. You make the intention, first thing, right? You say the talbiyah. Sorry, not the talbiyah, the intention, the dua for that is labbayk Allahumma Umrah. From this point, you are in the state of ihram. Talbiyah. Talbiyah is this statement. That's going to be read the most when you are either doing Umrah or you are doing Hajj, right? Labbayk Allahumma labbayk. Labbayk la sharika laka labbayk. Inna al-hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So this intention, you do that, and this will be recited till you see the Kaaba. You're doing until the rami of the largest jamarat or shaitan. And then you make talbiyah, especially when you're going down, and when you're going up, you always read talbiyah. Labbayk Allahumma labbayk, labbayk la sharika laka labbayk, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak, labbayk Allahumma labbayk, labbayk la sharika laka labbayk, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So you see that you say this as much time, and when you're joining the party of the people, you do that. After every salat, you do that. In the evening, in the morning, all the time. As I said earlier, you're going to be saying the most. So this is about talbiyah. And now let's go What things can you do in Ihram and what things you cannot? The prohibitions of Ihram. So we're talking, if you notice, I'm covering the topic of Ihram within Hajj. So men cannot wear stitched clothes. Women can wear their normal clothes, but without covering, as I said earlier, the face and the hands. Then, no gloves or head cover. Cannot cut nails, hair, or kill lice. No intimate activities, no hunting, and no marriage proposals. Right? You know, you cannot perform a marriage ceremony, not even proposals. Right? So this is something you cannot do this in Ihram. No perfumes, no fighting or haggling. You are in Ihram. It's very important to know. The next question is, so many restrictions, what can we do then? Number one, pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say talbiyah the most. Right. You can use umbrella or anything on top of you for the shade or tent or a roof of the car or thing like that. Then there's no harm in carrying your baggage on top of your head, right? Or carrying a backpack. You can do that. And wearing sandals that do not cover the ankles. This is something important. In terms of shoes, you can wear a ring, a watch, you can in the wrist or in your neck as well. Then hearing aids, speech aids can also be used as well. Eyeglasses can be used, and even contact lenses are allowed, right? And you cleanse yourself with unscented cleansers, meaning soap, you're not going to, soap or anything you're going to use, or hand wash that you're going to use, it's not going to be scented. It's not going to be perfumed, right? And you can scratch your head, right, and the body, even if some hair falls unintentionally. Intentionally, be careful, don't do that. But unintentionally, if any hair falls, that's perfectly fine. Then washing your ihram garments or put on the new ones. So you know those sheets, the clothes you can change. Some people think that, oh, that's ihram. So ihram, once you've taken them off, oh, ihram's, you've broken the ihram. No. Remember, I use the word state of ihram. So you got to be in state of ihram, and that is so you can change clothes there. And then wearing a belt to keep your money or documents. Also, stitched belts are permissible for that purpose. Right, so this is what we do in Ihram. Now, the next thing is, we talked about Umrah as well. And Tawaf, we talked about that. Let me quickly go through that. About the black stone, you all know that's in the Kaaba. This is how it looks like, right? And you go straight to the black stone, facing it and making a takbir, right? And then you touch it with your right hand and you kiss it and make sajda upon it. And also the Prophet ﷺ said, and if you're able to kiss it, then touch it with your right hand and then kiss your hand as well. That's one way. And if you cannot touch it, because there are lots of people, remember there are millions of people there. So if you cannot do that, what do you do then? What you do is, right, with your hand, that's what we call it, istalam, right? You do it, Allahu Akbar, and then you don't kiss your hand here, right? So you just say istalam, right? Facing the black stone. Then you go around the circuit. How do you do that? Tawaf Qudum, you arrive at Masjid Ihram. The black stone you start from, then you start the Tawaf, right? And you pray 2 rakats of Tawaf once you're done with it. Let me explain you another way. Black stone is here. The door of the Kaaba is here. The Hatim is here. This is Maqam Ibrahim, the Yamani corner, the Shami corner, and the Iraqi corner. You start from this here, and then you're going to go like that, right? And then you go, and then this way is towards the Zamzam, and this is towards the Safa. So 1 tawaf equals 7 rounds. So you go like that. So you go 7 times, and this is what? This is Maqam Ibrahim. When you have done with your 7th round, you cover the right shoulder and move to the place that's called as Maqam Ibrahim. Then, at Maqam Ibrahim, between yourself and the Kaaba, within this area, then you pray 2 rakat and recite there in Surah Kafirun and Surah Al-Ikhlas and all that. This is Maqam Ibrahim in few of the people, as you can see. And this is now we move on to Sa'i, right? The Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. What is it? Number 1, start with Safa. And here, now there are 2 mountains, as I said earlier, right? And whether you are doing Hajj or you go and do that, then you make zikr and you make dua there, and then you walk towards the Marwa, and you walk to Safa, and then you complete the 7 laps, and you finish at Marwa. Now the question is, do you want to take off Ihram or continue in the same way? For Tamattu, Qiran. Remember, for Qiran, for Tamattu, we take off the Ihram, we shaved your head, and then the Ihram, don the Ihram again before the 8th of Zil-Hajj. Why? Because you have to do the Hajj. You continue the Ihram in the same state and until the Hajj starts. So there's a lot of debate, like which one is better, whichever suits you the best is the best. Hajj, the best one is probably this one, and most of us suits because nowadays the traveling arrangements and all that is different. So based on that, it's better to do Tamattu. But again, based on your circumstances that you're in, these are 3 types are there for you. Now we go on to Hajj step by step. Let's note down the summary. Let me quickly go through that. The first is Ihram. The second is Mina on the 8th of Zil-Hajj. Then is Arafah on the 9th of Zil-Hajj, and then Muzdalifah on the, and then Mina, the 10th of Zil-Hajj, and then where you throw the pebbles, or at the big shaitan, the Jamaratul Aqaba. Then Nahar, that is sacrifice, you sacrifice an animal. Then you do, once you're done with the sacrifice, then you do halaq or taqsir. Halaq was shaving of the head, and taqsir was clipping or trimming your hair. And then Makkah on the 10th of Zil-Hajj, same day, you're doing this. On the same day, you're doing at Makkah, 10th of Zil-Hajj, what? Tawaful Ifada. And then you do the Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. And on the 7th thing is, and then you go back to Mina. If you notice, Mina is the focal point of the Hajj, that on the 8th of Zil-Hajj, you go back there. Now you go back on the 11th, and the 12th, and the 13th, you stay there, and you throw pebbles at all the three jamarats, that is the shaitans. And then on the last day, you go back to Makkah, and the day you're leaving, right? So you perform tawaf al-wida, right? And it's a farewell tawaf, and it's a moment that it's really difficult to bear, because are you going? So this is Hajj step by step. I want you to note it down, please. This is something very, very important. Right, students, that's all we have for today. So alhamdulillah, we learned about Hajj, we learned about step by step, the several steps involved in the Hajj. Inshallah ta'ala, very soon I'll be coming up with another video on Hajj as well, and looking at the different portions, further explaining that we studied in Hajj, that in Mina, how it looks like and all that. That's more informative and interactive video. This was more related to, what the contents and all that. And again, I would suggest to you that please read through your book. This is very, very important. And particularly the terms like what are the glossaries and what are the terms, what is Ihram, what is the significance of that, and then Umrah, what is Umrah and all that, and then the steps involved there, Mina, and what do you do with Mina, and the pebbles and all that. So this was all about it. If you still have any questions, you can write down those questions in the comments of this video, right? Or you can write to me at Ustaaz, that is ustaz.waqar, WAQAR, @gmail.com. And you can subscribe to our channel, and with that you'll come to know if there is any latest work that we uploading or doing and all. Take good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.